Hello, and welcome to Confessions of a Terrible Leader, where real leaders share the raw truth about the lessons they learned the hard way, so you don't have to. Join our host, Layci Nelson, founder of Transcend Leadership Collective and former terrible leader. Every leader can become worthy of being followed if they are willing to put in the work. On this podcast, we share the messy stories and behind-the-scenes reality of what the work actually entails. We welcome you to this community of revolutionary leaders who believe honest communication, healthy conflict, and building cultures of acceptance, respect, and trust are not only possible, but non-negotiable for cultivating world-class teams.
Hello and welcome back to Confessions of a Terrible Leader. I'm your host and former terrible leader, Layci Nelson. All right, series this week, all about emerging leaders, how to prepare your up and coming leaders in your organization, how to mentor well, what are the components you need to be working with them on, as well as understanding if you're using an outside resource or organization to help with the process, what do you need to have in place to make sure you're actually going to get your $7 back for every $1 spent. So here we go. This is all brass tacks today. We are going to be talking what are the core competencies that leaders need to be able to execute day in, day out at a high level and lead a team of just absolute killers. So this is going to go quick. It's going to be a fast one. If you want to take some notes later or right now, I suggest it. I'm going to just really speed through what are the core competencies? What are the things that people need to have in place, need to know how to do without question? And the good news is no one's born with these things. So they're all skills. You can pick all these up. You can decide I'm going to learn these things or I'm going to help my people learn these things and go after it. So let's just hit it. We're going to start with the personal. Remember, we talked about the circles of understanding leadership, personal leadership. How do you lead yourself? How do you lead a team? How do you understand organizational leadership? Here we go. Personal leadership, core competencies. We already covered self-regulation. That's a big one. Understanding if your intention aligns with your impact, also really important. Ability to build influence and get buy-in. So do you understand how to talk to people in the way that they want to be talked to address their philosophies of value, to build the influence, to get the buy-in so that everyone's rowing in the same direction and they're actually happy about it. Core skill. You also need to have the ability to cast vision with extreme clarity. So people need to be able to see what you see and learning how to communicate that. One of the things that we do as leaders is often, especially visionaries, we're, looking out into the mist, as one of my clients puts it, seeing all of these potential strings that can be pulled, designs that can be built. And our job is to bring it into some form of order and communicate that to our teams so they can see it too. We got to clear up the mist, make it crystal clear, and help them understand what it is that we're working for. What are those results in a way that is deeper than just understanding mission and vision? So understanding what the vision is and being able to communicate it with extreme clarity. Also being able to communicate with extreme clarity. Key skill. Do people understand when you walk away from a conversation, when they walk away from a conversation with you, do they actually understand what the main takeaway was? If you're a person who talks a lot, you might need to work on that. Oftentimes we think we're clear, and we're not clear. Do they have a good handle on that? Are you able to give direction to make sure people understand what the takeaways are? Okay, those are foundational personal leadership stuff. We have talked a lot about the other stuff in some earlier episodes. So working with teams, these are the next level skills, brass tacks. Can they delegate? Do they understand how to delegate? Do you understand how to delegate to the appropriate person, the appropriate task, and set up the appropriate guardrails so that they actually can succeed? So a skill we teach really quick is the TPF, which is just basically, are you delegating a task? When do you delegate a task? When do you delegate a project? When do you delegate a function? So overview of understanding delegation, how it works, and how to set people up for success when you are delegating by following the TPF progression. Coaching for performance. How do people know how to coach? Do they know how to have a conversation where people walk away feeling good and understanding what they need to work on and not feeling like they got in trouble? Key skill. something everybody needs to know how to do. We all need to know how to handle conflict, spend a little bit of time on that one, understanding how to identify if you've got task status, relational conflict happening, and then what to do about it. Understanding what healthy conflict looks like, the deep dive on it. Understanding the difference between a toxic behavior versus an annoying behavior. We overuse toxic. You and your leaders need to understand, how do you identify the difference? Core competency. Understanding how to create a place where people can vent, and you can understand as a leader how to help set up that process of venting, which is healthy, but helping it to not cross over just into incessant complaining, which is not healthy or helpful. So knowing and having the skill on how to do that. Having the skill on helping two coworkers that are not getting along. Do you know how to do dispute resolution? Key skill. These are the core competencies of world-class leaders, the ones that are just blowing it out of the water, that are exceeding, that are leading killer teams, the things they have to do. They also need to know how to cultivate acceptance and create a culture with intention, not just, I guess we have a good culture here. They need to have a game plan, understanding how do you cultivate acceptance and how do you build culture every single day with intention. Now we're going to go to that larger circle, core competency skills with understanding the organization as a whole, or organizational leadership. First of all, anybody in a position of leadership needs to have the 30,000 foot view. They need to understand what the most important goals of the company are for the organization every year. What the overarching, they need to know mission and vision. They need to understand the core values. They need to understand what sets the organization apart. Why would the organization choose to work with you? Why would someone choose to work with your organization instead of another organization? Why would they make that choice? So getting that really dialed in, that everybody has the same answer for that. What is your long-term, maybe it's not public facing, but an internal exciting goal that is long-term? Some books call it the BHAG or hedgehog concept, or what are those, that thing that you are looking towards that excites the whole organization? Everybody that works there, when they hear it, they're like, I want to be a part of that. And it's also a little bit scary. You need to have that dialed in, and helping people understand that, they need to understand what that is. They also need to, so it's kind of like the long-term, where are we going, but in a term that speaks to impact, not necessarily just sheer dollars. It can be both. And then also, you want people to understand KPIs or, key performance indicators or whatever. There's a million different words for those. But what are those? How do you set the right ones? And most importantly, how do you wield them as tools and not weapons? How do you make sure that they're tools for success, for departments, for individuals in departments, that you're using them to inform your processes, your decision making, and not using them to hit people over the head with? When that starts happening, it becomes a useless exercise to even set goals, because people are just picking things that they know it's going to happen anyway. So core competency, learn how to do that and how to wield it as a tool with your team and not a weapon. Understand how that works. They need to understand project management, the basics of project management, time, communication, and then process improvement, the debrief, the continual looking at how do we continue to improve this experience on multiple levels, product, user experience, client, consumer. There's a million ways to look at it, but that there's always this constant look to problem solving. And also always looking out to the horizon and going, what is possibly coming down the pike that could affect our work, that could affect us? So it's taking that SWOT analysis skill a step further and understanding what to do with it once there has been a SWOT analysis done, which you should be doing about once a year. So all of that said, those are the overarching brass tacks, really broad strokes of what the core competencies for solid leaders need to be. And if you are mentoring someone, those are the things that you need to be working through with them, that they're getting the frameworks for how those pieces work. They're understanding it. You're having very intentional conversations around it. They're understanding organizational behavior. They're starting to understand what it looks like to potentially be intrapreneurial versus entrepreneurial, all in the context of heart first leadership. So there you have it. Those are core competencies. Those are the proven aspects not just what we think here at the Transcend Leadership Collective, but what also has been proven for us, yes, with our clients, but based on lots of different studies, lots of research into what does it take to actually be a life-changing leader, a world-class leader that is just exceeding even your own expectations for where you want to take your organization or department and really making a difference. So there you go. That's it. That's the 30,000 foot flyover view. I hope you wrote quickly and you have those things captured, but that is a list of the core competencies that you need to be instilling, working through with people that you are mentoring, that you have identified as emerging leaders in your organization. All right, until next time, go manage like a leader.
Thanks for being part of this community of revolutionary leaders who believe honest communication, healthy conflict, and building cultures of acceptance, respect, and trust are not only possible, but non-negotiable for cultivating world-class teams. If you are in the early stages of leadership, or you are currently in a leadership position and are supervising rising leaders within your organization, you are going to want to learn more about our virtual live community created specifically for emerging leaders. Our first virtual cohort begins on April 2nd, and remember, this is a live virtual community, so you can sign up from anywhere. You will be connecting with other heart-first leadership-minded individuals and learning together. Sign up for our free newsletter, the link is in the show notes, to be the first to know when registration goes live and receive first access. Confessions of a Terrible Leader is hosted by Layci Nelson and produced by Mary Scott. Music is by Leif Olson and Mary Scott from the band The Number of Months. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, go manage like a leader.